Hey, I'd like to welcome you to another episode of Mission Matters. My name is Adam Torres, and if you'd like to apply to be a guest on the show, just head on over to missionmatters.com and click on Be Our Guest to apply. All right, so today I have Andy Cagnetta on the line, and he's CEO of Transworld Business Advisors. Andy, welcome to the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
All right, Andy. So excited to get into today's topic. We'll be talking about selling and buying businesses. A lot of business owners, entrepreneurs, and executives that listen to this show, and this is definitely the type of content and insight that they're looking for. So just to get kicked off, we'll start this show like we start them all with our Mission Matters Minute. So, Andy, we at Mission Matters, we amplify stories for entrepreneurs, executives, and experts. So that's our mission here. Andy, what mission matters to you?
You know, my mission, the mission that matters to me is people getting a good deal. I mean, we want to help people realize the American dream of buying or even getting out of their business, which might be their dream, at some point in their career. And we're just here to help them. We just want to see everybody have a good transaction and make sure that it, runs smoothly and everybody, it's a fair deal for everyone.
So I like to kind of tackle this this question, from multiple angles. I guess from the first angle, if an investor out there or just in general is looking to purchase a business, what kind of things should they be looking for, whether it's metrics or models? I mean, where do you want to start with that one? I know that's a big one to unpack.
Yeah, I mean, at 30,000 feet, the best thing to do is find a business that's going to, thrive because of your talents and not suffer because of, your downfalls. And so you want to find a business that's really a good fit. I always tell people, that making money matters, but if you're miserable doing it, you're probably not going to be successful. So kind of like the first thing is like really feeling like it's a good fit for your lifestyle, for your talents, and those kind of things. So, that's kind of like the first kind of idea.
And so let's say that they maybe have some ideas on what they thought would be a good fit for businesses, and now they're to that point to where they're looking at maybe screening and like taking that next step. Like, give us a little bit of that process.
Yeah, so what I tell this, and I've sold businesses to my brother, I've sold businesses to my brother-in-law, I've sold businesses to my
Dang, everybody gets a business when they're around you, Andy. I'm in. How come I'm just meeting you? Wait, let's talk. Go ahead.
Well, we can make that happen. I mean, so what I tell everybody is at the end of the day, you have to be an educated consumer, right? You have to be able to understand what's a good deal and what's a bad deal. And the only way you're going to figure that out is to go out there and shop. And, over the last 20 years, let's say, things have changed dramatically in your ability to go out there and find businesses for sale. It used to be back in the day before they invented the internet that, you had to go to the newspaper or find a business for sale. These days, there's, great portals out there like BizBuySell and other things that you can go on and you could find a business for sale and shop. And so that's the first kind of thing that you have to get into that mindset, like, hey, first of all, I'm going to buy a business, and you're going to commit yourself to that. But once you do that, you start shopping around, because what's going to happen is right now it's a very competitive landscape for buying a business. And maybe what's out there and kind of sitting on the marketplace is not the most desirable businesses. So what's going to happen is you're going to have to move fast when the good business that fits your criteria comes up for sale. And the only way you're going to do that is if you feel good about knowing what you're looking at as far as revenues and earnings and price.
Well said there. And in terms of I want to take the question from the other side of the coin now, if you will. So let's say that you're on the seller side of things, and so maybe obviously different people are going to sell businesses for different reasons. Whether they're nearing retirement, maybe their kids don't want to take over the business, maybe they want to sell that business and reinvest in another. They have other interests. Just a lot of different reasons that people will sell a business. what should they be thinking about? Like, what should be on their mind other than obviously you want to get the most value? Like, what should they be thinking about?
Well, they should be thinking about running their business like they're never going to sell it, right? And
Mm.
getting a good team together to eventually sell it, and that includes a business broker, that includes their attorney, and an attorney that understands business transactions, and their accountant and their investment advisor to make sure they're in a good place to sell their business. And once they have that team together, the key is you can't let your foot off the gas pedal before you sell, because as soon as the business starts trailing down, then business's value is based on future revenues and earnings. And if the arrow is pointing down over the last, say, year or a couple of years or several months, people are going to devalue that business. So the goal for every seller is to just kind of keep it rolling, keep it growing right up to the last day.
And so now, now that we're thinking about, like, they're maybe a little bit further down the line, they're thinking about like getting really serious about selling it. Maybe they're even considering listing it or maybe trying to sell it off the market. Give us some of the technical sides there on just different approaches they could consider.
Well, they could sell it internally, and they could sell it to a family member. And even then, you're going to want to put together the package, right? You're going to want to gather your last few years of financials. You're going to want to gather current financials. Like, interesting enough, like right now, 2020 was really an aberration, right? Whether you did well through the coronavirus initial shutdowns or whether you did horribly, people are kind of willing to discount 2020. So now everybody's looking at 2018, 2019, see how you were doing pre-pandemic. And now everybody's kind of looking at today saying, okay, where are you today? And then trying to come up with that value. So if you're going to bring it to a family member, to an employee, or you're going to list it for sale with a broker, you're still going to need all that information put in one place, organized. And a broker can help you do that, or maybe your accountant, and you could have that ready to go, because that's what we're selling. We're selling a collection of assets, which includes goodwill and reputation and employees and leasehold or the physical real estate that you own. And we're going to put that together, and that machine makes money. And we're going to offer that to whoever is going to be the buyer. And the buyer is going to look at that in a critical way in the beginning to decide if they want it. And if they do want it, then we have to take the next steps.
So I want to switch it up a bit. So let's go further into what you're doing over at Transworld Business Advisors. So give us a little bit of insight on the company, please.
Yeah, sure. So I came to the business as a buyer. So I came here looking to buy a business, and the then owners invited me to join the company, and I really fell in love with buying and selling businesses. And I bought the company 2 years later, and we've grown it up from one office here in Fort Lauderdale to 225 offices around the world through our and we've franchised it through a partnership with United Franchise Group. And so now we have 600-700 people on the street all over the world. We have thousands of listings, literally billions of dollars worth of small businesses for sale, and we're transacting those every single day. And so what's happening here at Transworld is we see a very dynamic marketplace where it's a great time to sell your business. There's lots of buyers out there. Money's cheap. So it's just a very dynamic marketplace. We're setting records this year.
What type of what kind of clients do you feel get the most value out of working with you and your advisors? Do you work with people that have never bought a business, only seasoned business owners? Like, give us a flavor for the type of because at the end of this, I'll give you the opportunity, of course, to leave websites and things like that so people can follow up. But I want to make sure that the right types of candidates do connect with your team. So, who's usually a good fit to work with your team?
That's a very interesting question, and I would say both, first-time buyers, of course, they're going to get the experience and knowledge that we have in a transaction to make sure that it goes correctly and everybody's treated fairly. As we say, good deals for good people. But at the same time, we work with plenty of family offices and private equity groups and strategic buyers, companies that are looking to grow, that want to buy companies. And they could be super, knowledgeable about the process, but they just still can't connect with people or connect with the right deals. And that's what we do. Again, we have 700 people on the street, and they're, constantly networking and asking people if they want to sell. And if we know what those buyers want, we could, maybe even source it for them before it hits the market.
Yeah, well said. And any particular niches that that you and your team specialize in versus other, or pretty niche agnostic? Just a feel for the kind of portfolios, or the type of businesses that you buy, like to buy and sell, really.
Yeah, I mean, it's all over the board. From, of course, the usual kind of suspects of restaurants and kind of personal services like hair salons and other services like landscaping and snow plowing and those kind of things, right up to manufacturing. I just sold a medical practice, actually for my father-in-law. He'd been in practice for 50 years. We sold his urology practice. So it goes from medical to distribution to hospitality to manufacturing to all kinds of, white-collar service businesses like accounting and psychology. It's really across the board. Now, individual people in my office specialize in different things, and it might be because they came from that industry, or they have sold several deals in that, because that's what happens. You sell one, and then other owners will reach out to you.
Fantastic. Well, Andy, I just have to say it's been great having you on the show today, learning more about what you're doing over at Transworld Business Advisors, and also just, the passion behind why you do what you do, helping people get value, helping people. And obviously, I feel like everybody that knows you at some point in time, they're either getting a business or they're selling one, because you're like, oh, my brother, my cousin, my uncle, I'm working on my niece right now. She's going to buy one. She's a little young. No, I don't know, but I think it's great, because when people do business and with family and just in general, I just think that it gives a better feel, and it also is just in terms of providing opportunities for the business owners out there by letting them work with an experienced team so that they can get that value. And then on the other side of the coin, really, the people that are looking to be business owners or business owners again, or buy their next business or find their next thing, I mean, you're just providing a lot of win-win situations. So again, great having you on the show today. If somebody wants to learn more and to connect with you and your team, what's the best way for them to do that?
Easiest way, go to tworld.com, TWORLD.com. My email is ac@tworld.com, so it's pretty easy.
Fantastic, and we'll put those that stuff in the show notes so that people can just click on the link and head right on over to the site. And so again, thank you for coming to the show, Andy, and to the audience, as always, thank you for tuning in. If this is your first time with us, we at Mission Matters, what we do is we bring on business owners, entrepreneurs, experts, and we have them share their mission behind what they do, why they do what they do, what wakes them up in the morning, what gets them passion, that fire going, and makes them go out there and make it as business people. So definitely want you to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, or if you're a first-time visitor. And Andy, really appreciate you coming on the show. It has been a pleasure.
Thanks, Adam. Appreciate it.